President Trump delivered a powerful speech at the National Prayer Breakfast in Washington this morning. He emphasized our country's dependence on God.
In the courage of our fellow citizens, we see the power of God's love at work in our souls and the power of God's will to answer all of our prayers. When Americans are able to live by their convictions, to speak openly of their faith, and to teach their children what is right, our families thrive, our communities flourish, and our nation can achieve anything at all.
To the surprise of many, the president, a man not known for his faith before the election, has become the most powerful religious voice in the public arena. To react, we're joined from North Carolina by evangelical leader Franklin Graham. It's so great to see you, Franklin. I thought the president today was, I thought he was mesmerizing. And I mean, Donald Trump is the guy who's holding the torch for God and Christianity and Judeo-Christian culture. It's stunning.
It is stunning, and I don't, in my lifetime, we've never had a president like this. And he's not afraid to speak out about his faith. But this was the 66th prayer breakfast. And it started, my father encouraged, going back to President Eisenhower, and others worked on this at the very beginning. And every president since Eisenhower has come to this breakfast. And it is a bipartisan breakfast put on by Republicans and Democrats. And they work together. And these are men and women of faith who come together in a bipartisan way to put on this breakfast. And it shows you that Washington can function. And we need more Christians in Washington. We need more. Could you imagine if the majority of the House and Senate were God-fearing men and women, that they could argue their points, but at the end of the day, they would come together and work for the good of the all-American people. We need men and women in Washington who believe in God, who believe in His Son, Jesus Christ, who took our sins to the cross, who died for our sins, who God raised to life. We need more men and women like this. And last year, I went across this country to every state capital, asking people to pray for this country and encouraging Christians to run. And I didn't tell them what party to run for. They could be Democrats, they could be Republicans, but we need Christians at every level of government. And when Christians come together, this is what you see at the prayer breakfast. They come together and they work together. It was a great thing, Laura. I was glad to be there.
At one point, the president talked about how a year earlier he had asked for prayers for, I believe it was a little girl who was very, very ill. And he said he was, he was overwhelmed. I heard from others he had been overwhelmed by the response, the prayer that had come in for her. And he reported that, she was doing much better. That was just a small moment. But I personally, I felt the power of prayer at very difficult times. And the left doesn't understand this, Franklin, because they say, well, look, he's been married all these times. And look, he can have a foul mouth. He said these things in the past. How can this flawed man be this evangelical and Catholic, leader in a way? I mean, how does that happen? How does God use people like that? And your response would be?
Well, Donald Trump is not a perfect person. I'm certainly, I'm not a perfect person. And I would hate for somebody to hold me up as being the greatest example of the Christian faith or the Christian life. I've got many failures in my life, and so does Donald Trump. But that doesn't stop me from believing in God and believing in His Son, Jesus Christ. And Donald Trump believes in God. And he believes in God's Son, Jesus Christ. And I appreciate the fact that he doesn't run away from his faith. And he's willing to stand up in front of the whole world and let the world know where he stands. And he appreciates people praying for him.
Yeah.
We need to pray. We're commanded to pray for all those that are in authority, Laura, all of them. When Donald Trump won the presidency, he became my president and your president, and we need, God orders us to pray for him.
Franklin Graham, it's so great to see you. Thank you so much for joining us.